Agents for Hire.
Welcome back to James for Hire. I'm Matthew Perry, and with Will Polston, we've come to the end of our divisions, projections, and predictions, finishing things off with the wild NL West. And we'll get right into it, starting with the defending champion Los Angeles Dodgers. They finished 43-17 and then beat the Rays in 7 games to win their first championship since 1988. I want to say, guys, they brought in only a couple notables: Trevor Bauer, of course, and Tommy Kahnle, who won't be ready until next season, 2022. He's having Tommy John. Guys that left: Adam Kolarek, they traded him to the A's a couple weeks ago. Alex Wood is gone. Jock Peterson is gone, and Kike Hernandez is off to Boston. Will, what are your thoughts on the Dodgers?
I think they lost some depth, but other than that, they really didn't lose too much. They didn't lose anything to where I don't, believe in them anymore. I think they're still an amazing team. The addition of Trevor Bauer, the fact that crazy thing is that Kershaw, Bauer, or Buehler, one of them is going to be a 3-starter. That's crazy. I think currently right now they're slated to have Buehler, which is nuts. I thought he'd be opening day, but maybe not. It's crazy to me. I would put Bauer at 3, but if you look at it, continue to look at it, that David Price could be a 5. It's crazy to think, and we didn't see Price last season, I don't think. I think he sat out for COVID and everything such as that, but he'll be back. This lineup's still ridiculous. Mookie Betts, Cody Bellinger, Corey Seager, phenomenal. Justin Turner, they got back. Will Smith, a good catcher. That they have got a very thin catcher core, like we talked about in the Central. And now we're looking at Will Smith, who's coming up and a phenomenal catcher at that. I want to say that he was ranked at number 50 in the MLB top players list. A little high in my opinion, but still a great catcher. Max Muncy, AJ Pollock, and Chris Taylor. The lineup's stacked. I literally went through all of them, and I don't think there's really a weak spot. The bullpen looks good. Kenley Jansen still out there. Bruce Gatterall, Tony Gonsolin pitched well. And now with the addition of Bauer, you could have May in the bullpen. It's ridiculous as in a long relief role. This team is still great. They're easily still a contender. I think they still are up there in the West Division. Definitely still up there in the National League. The Dodgers didn't really miss a beat in the offseason.
Yeah, this team is as good as it was last year, if not better. Trevor Bauer is big. This rotation has to be among the best in baseball. The claim could definitely be made with the right information. And your team's deep when you got Gavin Lux on the bench. You have Dustin May in the bullpen or even in AAA. Bruce Gratterall in your bullpen. This team from 1 to 9 in the order to 1 through 5 in the rotation. This team has everything, man, and there's really no weakness. This team is definitely a World Series favorite right now. They could definitely go back-to-back. Probably the best chance the team has had of going back-to-back in quite some time because they really didn't lose any edge. They brought back Justin Turner, which was great. Corey Seager's still a member of the team. I know he had a trade rumor or two, not many, but it's always nice that he stuck around. This team is absolutely fantastic, and there really isn't much to say because they don't have much room for improvement. Like they are probably the best team in baseball, if not the best, they're top 3 to be sure. Pacoda projection, they have them ranked the best. 104 wins for the Dodgers, over or under?
I think this is like a nice push range. I think 104 is honestly a great number for them. Putting a team over that's kind of hard to do. And I don't want to say they're going to go under that either, though, because they are a phenomenal team. Honestly, if anything, if I had to pick over or under, I would go over by maybe a game or two. I could see 105, 106, but I don't think I'm not saying 110 number. That's crazy talk. But I think you're kind of sitting around where they're going to be. I think they're going to be anywhere between like a 102 to a 106 kind of win team. 104 is smack dab right in the middle of that. I think they're going to be right around that number.
Yeah, I am taking the under. I'm taking the under big time because the team we're talking about next, the San Diego Padres, are going to get in the way of this 104. This is going to be the game, the matchup of the season. These Dodgers Padres games are gonna be big, and not only for division rankings, not only for statistics, but these are going to be some great games to watch from your couch, from the seats at the ballpark. These are the prime time matchups. We'll be seeing this on ESPN a lot this year because these were two of the best off seasons. And from that, yeah, I'm taking the under for the Dodgers. I think 100 wins for the Dodgers. And why is it not 104? The San Diego Padres, who will move into now. They finished 37-23, got swept in the NLDS by the Dodgers, but revenge is a dish best served cold, and I think it's coming soon. Guys, they brought in Mark Melanson. They traded for Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, Victor Caratini, who is Yu Darvish's personal catcher. He came in the Cubs trade. Joe Musgrove they got from the Pirates. Guys, they lost just some prospects. No one and a couple solid guys. Luis Patino, he was in the Rays trade, as was Francisco Mejia. Joey Lucchesi was traded to the Mets. And then the veterans, Mitch Moreland, Garrett Richards, Trevor Rosenthal, and probably most importantly out of those, Kirby Yates. They all left in free agency. What are your thoughts on the Padres?
They're phenomenal. My Cardinals got to see them in the first round of the playoffs last season in the quote wild card round, even though neither one of us were a wild card team, which is fun. But either way, no, this team's phenomenal. This team only got better. Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, great additions to the rotation. Mark Melanson is going to be a nice fill-in spot for Kirby Yates, who was hurt and had some troubles last year. I think they're missing. They're still probably missing about one bullpen piece. I think they still have Emilio Pagan, which is nice. They got Kaloni Kella. And Drew Pomeranz, if he can do what he did last season, they'll be in a good spot. But yeah, this team is really solid right now. I just wonder about their depth past their starting lineup outside of Victor Caratini, because currently right now Austin Nola is slated to be the catcher. Past that, I'm a little concerned about him. But other than that, I mean, their starting nine, what's projected for them is fantastic. Their starting rotation projected for them is fantastic. Not to mention that it's solid 1 through 5, and this is even without Mike Clevenger, who's going to be back after this season. So this team's crazy. This is definitely a really good team. And then we get to see if Kim is going to perform well. So that's another one of those question marks, though. Is he going to be able to make the transfer to the MLB? And so we'll see about that. But otherwise, I mean, I don't really have too many questions about this team. They're right there in front of your face, and they're ready to go. So I think this is going to be a very good Padres team.
This team has everything it takes to be successful. You lock up Fernando Tatis Jr., 14-year extension. He's going to be a Padre for life, for most likely. The rotation 1 through 5, 1 through 6, even when Clevenger comes back, very, very strong. You know you have a good rotation with Chris Paddock, who just 2 years ago I believe he received Cy Young votes, is your 5 starter. Very good there. Honestly, I might take this rotation over the Dodgers. Julio Urias is somewhat inconsistent. I know he's improving, but I've never been super big on him. And then David Price, I mean, he's had his ups and downs for sure. I'm not high on him. He's not the Cy Young pitcher he used to be. I'd much rather take this Padres rotation that's overall younger and can do more. Kim, like you said, it'll be interesting to see if he can make the jump to the MLB. He'll be starting on their bench most likely. And then I like the pen. I don't think the pen's too bad. Losing Yates is big and Rosenthal, but Drew Pomeranz has shown that he can still throw it in the MLB. He had a pretty good season last year. Signing Keon Keller was a nice touch. Mark Melanson, both of them are solid veterans. And then Angel Pagan, who it hasn't been his best. Was definitely better with the Rays so far, but we still have a chance to see what he can do as a member of the Padres. Pacoda projection 95 wins, over or under.
Hitting the over on that one. I think they're going to be around 100. I think both teams are going to be over 100. This division is going to be very top heavy. Once we get past it, there's going to be a lot of question marks. We're not looking at the same whenever it comes to the Central. With the Central, you could find a way to argue that 4 teams could win that division. With the West, you can't do that. It's 2 teams, and it's 2 teams only. The Giants are a solid roster, but they're not going to come out and surprise anybody like that. The Diamondbacks are the Diamondbacks. They're not going to do anything crazy, and the Rockies have only gotten worse. So it'll be interesting to see what happens 3 through 5. But I still think the Dodgers are the favorite in my opinion. Whenever whenever it comes down to the long stretch of the season, the one concern I have for the Padres is Dinelson Lamet going to repeat what he did last season? He did phenomenal. Easily the most improved player last year, was pitching around 4.4 and then came out and pitched around 2.5. Can he keep that up? And so if he can, this is going to be a phenomenal year. And can Chris Paddock figure it out? Last year, the Sheriff kind of struggled a little bit. If he can get back to what he was doing his rookie year, and he'll be right back up there. But the pitching staff, if they stay consistent, will be very good. I'm not worried about Darvish or Snell. Musgrove, you know what you're getting. It's a great 4. So it'll be a good team, but I still think their offense has plenty enough. Slam Diego is going to carry them up to 100 wins. So I'm going to hit the over for that.
Yeah, I'm hitting the over too. It's going to be a very close division, 2-team division, but 2 teams, very good 2 teams. They will be near 100 wins, I would say. Same with the Dodgers, like I said. They definitely have what it takes. This is the best Padres team we've seen probably since 1998 when they made it to the World Series. That team didn't do well in the World Series, but when you have Tony Gwynn, there's always a chance. This team has a lot of potential, and they're very young for the most part. Besides 1 or 2 guys, they will be this good for a while. So get used to seeing the Padres up there in that conversation. But it's all downhill from here, if I'm being honest, when it comes to the NL West. We'll move on to the San Francisco Giants, who finished 29-31 last season, missing the playoffs. Guys, they brought in Matt Whistler, John Brebbia, solid reliever, Anthony DeSclafani, Alex Wood, Tommy La Stella, Jake McGee, Aaron Sanchez. Lots of veteran-style kind of guys, guys that left, not many. Also vets, Drew Smiley, Tony Watson, and Trevor Cahill. A solid offseason. They brought in more than they let go. I think they had a few nice pieces. What are your thoughts on the Giants?
The Giants are all right. I mean, they're not crazy. It's the pieces you expect to be in the lineup are getting old. They're I should say old whenever they're past their prime. That's a better word for it. Posey is not Posey. Longoria is not Longoria. Brandon Crawford is not the same Brandon Crawford. There's a lot of aging players on this team, but there's also a lot of young talent. Donovan Solano is young and upcoming. Mike Yastrzemski, Alex Dickerson, Mauricio Dubon. If they can figure that out, I think this team will be exciting for years to come. Right now, they just kind of have to go through it because their pitching staff leaves a lot of question marks. I don't trust Escofani. I don't trust Cueto. I don't trust Aaron Sanchez. Actually, I trust Aaron Sanchez more than the other 2 names. But, Cueto, Descalfani, Gosman as a 1, it's just as an ace. There's a lot of question marks there. Nothing really gets me excited about this team. Nothing really. Their lineup is good. It could contend, not for a World Series or anything, but they could contend for a wild card spot, but not in this division. This division is very, like we said, it's very top heavy. And so to face the Padres and the Dodgers as much as they're going to have to face them, it's going to do some damage on their record. But otherwise, they'll be an okay team.
Yeah, they're all right. Not a lot of upside, unfortunately. The farm system isn't great. Checking FanGraphs, there are no pitching prospects to really stand out, which they need seemingly more than anything right now. The bullpen's pretty weak, headlined by Jake McGee and Reyes Moronta, which is it's okay. I'm sure there are worse bullpens out there, but this is definitely not one of the best. The offense can hold up. Mike Yastrzemski is fantastic. He's only getting better. Posey's not the same as you mentioned, but for a catcher, he'll get the job done. Brandon Belt can show power at times. Donovan Solano had plenty of good moments last season. Same with Tommy La Stella. That was probably their best signing. John Brebbia, I will say, enhances the bullpen a little bit, but an aging rotation. I think the youngest guy in this rotation is maybe Aaron Sanchez, late 20s. I don't love it. Evan Longoria now moving to a bench role. They haven't projected it on the bench with La Stella as the starting third baseman. That's interesting, but Longoria hasn't been the same since he played for the Rays, really. I think he's only hit 20 plus home runs once with the Giants, something like that. Pacoda projects them 75 wins, and honestly, I think that's a decent range for them. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm right there in there. I think that this is around where they're going to be. I'm going to go over by like 1 or 2 games. I think they'll find a way. I mean, you're not going to, the Padres and the Dodgers aren't going to sweep them out. They're going to grab some wins in there. They're going to grab some wins in some series that they shouldn't win. At the end of the day, they're a young core with aging vets. Their team is coming up, and it will be on the rise here soon once they get the aging guys off the books and we can get some of the younger guys in there. But yeah, I think Yastrzemski, Solano, Dickerson, I really like some of these guys in their lineup. La Stella's not a bad pickup either. He's not a a super old veteran. I think John Brebbia is an underrated spot that they grabbed in their pen. I think it'll be around 75 wins, but I'm going to go with over just a couple of games. I don't think they're going to hit 500, but I think they'll be around like 74 to 78 wins. So I'm going to put them just on the upper side of that.
I'm right there with you. I think 77 sounds perfect for this team. Hopefully they can gain a couple more prospects. I know they have a few good batting prospects. There's one outfielder, I'm blanking on his name, but he definitely could be seeing time sometime soon. But yeah, there's not much to be very cheery about when it comes to the Giants, besides Mikey Yaz and maybe a couple other guys. But I mean, you're around the mid tier for this division and for the league. So yeah, around 77 would be good for the Giants. I'm taking the over. And here we move to Colorado Rockies, whose ownership has seemingly given up on the fan base and the city as a whole. They finished 26-34, missed the playoffs, head to the offseason, trade their franchise player, their biggest star, arguably ever, in Nolan Arenado. But let's talk about what they brought in first. A lot of good names here. Robert Stevenson, they acquired from the Reds. Austin Gomber was the main piece in the Cardinals trade, as mentioned. Derek Rodriguez, former reliever of the Giants, signed to a minor league deal. Greg Bird, former Yankee, former big time playoff guy, minor league deal. And CJ Cron, who's been around with a couple teams now, had some decent years. He got a minor league deal. Guys that left, of course, Arenado, Jeff Hoffman, traded to the Reds. Daniel Murphy retired. Kevin Pillar is gone. Matt Kemp is gone. David Dahl is gone, which was the real eyebrow raiser there besides Arenado. And then Tony Walters did not come back. He's now a Pirate. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, this is a rough offseason.
Yeah, not good. Not one to remember if you're a Rockies fan. I still think at some point that they're going to be bad and Trevor Story's going to find his way out. Wouldn't be shocked to see somebody like Charlie Blackmon find his way out. This team's going to be, I think they're going to be kind of historically bad. Not MLB history, but I think around franchises, they're going to be terrible. Really confused by David Dahl, especially for how little he signed for, and to go to another bad team. Was really shocked to see that the Rockies didn't bring him back. Raimel Tapia, though, gets to fill in at left. That'll be good for them. He needs to get some time up. Sam Hilliard, sure. There's not enough players on here that I'm excited about. Trevor Story, Charlie Blackmon, and that's really it. Other than that, I mean, like I said, or like you had actually mentioned in a Central video, that the Rockies have decent pitchers. Yeah. It's just you're in cores. So already you're going to give up more bombs than you should. Herman Marquez is a good arm. Senzatella is a good arm. I like Gomber with his time with the Cardinals. Is he ready to be in a starting rotation? That I'm a little unsure about. There's a lot going on with the Rockies, and most of it's not good. So I don't feel confident for Colorado this season.
Yeah, there's not much to be excited about. I mean, Story and Blackmon are the only exciting pieces in the starting lineup. The rotation's nice. I do like the rotation. It's better than some other teams we've spoken about in past videos. Teams like the Brewers would love to have a rotation like this because then they might be a more complete team. I do like where they're at pitching-wise. The pen could use some work. Notable guys in there, Michael Givens and then Daniel Bard. Daniel Bard has had a great story. He got the yips, I believe, and then wound up coming back years later. Now he's a closer, which is very interesting. Good story, but not good enough to be an MLB closer, in my opinion. They could definitely use some bullpen work. And then the offense has potential. I mean, they're getting younger, I guess, by getting rid of Arenado, Kemp, Pilar, technically. But Dahl's only 26, I want to say. He's had some good years, so I don't know why they let him walk. I definitely would have offered something up to Dahl. Dahl could have helped a lot of teams. He wound up choosing the Texas Rangers, I want to say,
Mhm.
as mentioned in the AL West video. I'm sorry, but yeah, I mean that was probably the most questionable thing. Arenado, we knew was going to get traded. It was questionable the return they got. I definitely think they could have gotten more from the Cardinals, but it is what it is. Arenado gone. It's a new era in Colorado. I know they were talking about locking up Trevor Story, but I can't trust this ownership after what they've done. I can't see them locking up anybody. I mean, they're playing a real cheap game here, and that's not going to involve a big contract extension. So, yeah, like you said, expect Story to get moved, maybe even Blackman. A lot of moving parts the next couple of years for this Rockies team, and I don't see it getting better. Not many great prospects either. Pacoda has them 62 and 100 over or under.
Hot take, bury them.
Ooh,
I think they're going to be under that. I think they're in the 50s. I think this team is going to be, when I said historically bad, I meant it. I think this is going to be another, you could put them right next to the Pirates as one of the teams fighting for number one overall pick. I think this team is going to be atrocious. I think anybody who has trade value or is anything decent is going to find their way out of Colorado this season. You could see Germán Marquez gone. I already said Story and Blackman. I mean, if any of these players in the lineup start performing well, say CJ Cron. CJ Cron's got signed to a minor league deal. If he starts performing well, he could get moved easily. It's just stuff that you could move to get minor league pieces, because right now the Rockies aren't playing for any time soon. And that being said, they need to get out any guys that they have locked up long term. I don't see Trevor Story staying there much longer. I don't know what Blackman's contract situation is, but I can't imagine he'll be there much longer. Same with Germán Marquez, but there's just so many question marks right now. How do you get rid of your franchise player at 29? The guy's in the midst of his prime, and it's easily one of, if not the best player you've ever had in the franchise history. With the likes of Walker and Helton, Bichette, but Arenado's right up there with him. Been absolutely outstanding for the Rockies. Crazy to me what the Cardinals were able to get him for. And I just don't trust the management, like you said. There's too much going on with the Rockies right now. And I think it's going to be a little bit too overwhelming for them. And I think they're going to be terrible.
I don't think they'll be good, but I do have to take the over here. I think 62 is a little low for them. This is a team that last year, I mean, they were 8 games below 500. Calculate that in a 162 game season. Obviously, that's a lot more games below 500, but they weren't terrible. Obviously, they did get worse based on their offseason moves, but I don't know. I think they could put something together. Obviously, I'm not saying they're going anywhere near wild card or any playoff appearance by any means, but they're not Pirates level bad. I mean, they have a competent rotation and at least a few bats that have proven themselves. I think the Pirates have some bats, but definitely a little bit more proving to do, which comes with having younger guys. So, I mean, it's a give and take kind of thing, but I do think they win more than 62. Do they win 70? I don't think so, but it's more than 62. We will finish things up with the Arizona Diamondbacks, who last season finished last in the NL West with a 25 and 35 record, of course, missing the playoffs. Guys they brought in, they actually didn't have a big, they did not have a big offseason. Guys they brought in, Chris Davinsky, solid reliever, minor league deal, Asdrubal Cabrera to a 1-year deal, Ben Heller, minor league deal. He got DFA'd by the Yankees just a couple weeks ago, wound up getting picked up by the D-backs. And then Tyler Clippard, veteran bullpen guy, definitely worked on the bullpen. The Diamondbacks did. Guys that left, Mike Leake, he's yet to be re-signed. John Jay, veteran outfielder. And then another reliever, Hector Rondon. Interesting team here. There are definitely some bright spots from what I see, but what do you see when you look at the Diamondbacks?
Not much. There are some names, like you said. I really like Zach Gallen. I think he's been an outstanding pitcher over at least, especially last year and the year prior. Ketel Marte, he's a solid bat in there. Is he going to continue it up? We'll see. Last year wasn't as hot as he was back in 2019. Obviously, last year is a weird season for everybody. David Peralta, shout out, king of consistency out there. Guy's been there forever. Was originally in the Cardinals organization. Wish he was still there, kind of, but it's okay. He's a solid bat to have in there. And then speaking of the Cardinals organization, they've sent over 2 players for Goldschmidt, Luke Weaver, and Carson Kelly. And Carson Kelly's really coming to his own in Arizona. Luke Weaver doing pretty okay over there. Their rotation's honestly full of guys that I wouldn't mind having on my team. It's just, what do I expect from their lineup, and what do I expect from them in this division? And that draws a lot of questions. Right now, the way I'm looking at it, the projected lineup has Christian Walker in your 3-hole. Doesn't get me excited. David Peralta hitting cleanup, sure, but he's more of a contact guy, more of a get on base guy. He's not known to put it over the fence and bring everybody in. And there's not really a guy on this lineup who strikes me as that. Unfortunately, the game's changing. I mean, there's not a lot of teams that you see win off of contact baseball. Not a lot that I can think of, other than probably St. Louis. Really, I mean, they don't hit the long ball much, but they still find a way. Other than that, I mean, when you think of the good teams, you think of the Yankees, who hit bombs. You would think of the Dodgers, who can go deep 1 through 9 in their lineup. Whenever the Padres literally slam Diego, it's an interesting lineup. Unfortunately, the game's changing to favor power hitters a lot. And if you don't have that, you don't see a lot of success. And so the Diamondbacks concern me when it comes to that.
I'm honestly pretty big on the D-backs. I mean, if you take a deeper look, they have a lot of potential, and it reminds me of a team like the Brewers or the Reds that we mentioned in the NL Central video, where they have some good players and they also have a couple farm guys that can move things up. The lineup isn't that bad. You got a lot of versatility in here. Ketel Marte, Eduardo Escobar, Tim LaCastro, all guys that could play several different positions. Cole Calhoun getting up there in age, but he can still get it done, at least in the field. He's solid out there and right. Like you said, Mr. Consistency. David Peralta, he's still great. He's still producing offensively. I want to see more from Carson Kelly. Now he's got the starting catcher job officially. I want to see what he can do. We've yet to see a lot of him. This will be his first full season up in the bigs, I want to say, or at least his full season starting. But looking forward to him. The rotation also has potential. Zach Gallen coming off a great rookie year in 2020. Madison Bumgarner coming off probably the worst year of his career last year. But if anyone can bounce back, it'll be Mad Bum. Caleb Smith, we saw him with the Marlins last year. He got acquired, I believe, in August, a very late trade. He definitely has some potential. Luke Weaver, we're going to get to see a lot of him this year. Like you said, he came over from the Cardinals, and he was pretty highly touted as a prospect, if I'm not mistaken. So looking forward to seeing what he can do. Asdrubal Cabrera on the bench is great, solid veteran, teach the young guys a little something. I like that. The pen, they signed a lot of solid veterans, I guess. Not a young pen by any means. Guys that headline that, Joaquin Soria and Tyler Clippard, who have definitely had their ups and downs. Pacoda has them at 79 wins, over or under?
I'm going under. I think this team is the 4th place team in this division still. There's just the way that the game is, a lot of teams don't win with small ball. And there is power potential, like Christian Walker. Christian Walker's a solid hitter. He could go deep. Ketel Marte had a season not too long ago where I think he may have popped 30 home runs, maybe even more, if I'm not mistaken. There is some power potential, but the thing is, it's potential. There's not a lot of raw power in this lineup. Whenever you're looking at it, you're not looking at a guy such as, somebody like a Luke Voigt, a guy who's like, if he hits the ball, it's flying. There's not a lot of that. And like I said, and not to mention Chase Field's a really big field. You got to be kind of strong to hit it out anyway. Which, I mean, it favors the pitching staff. The pitching staff is the solid point, though, I think, in my opinion, whenever you're looking at the two. The thing is, the team's solid. When I'm looking at it, they're solid. It's kind of like I don't know what they kind of seem like a team that nobody wanted to take a chance on them, so they all just kind of got together and played in Arizona. But I mean, it works, but right now this division's tough. I still think the Giants are a better team than them. I think they're going to be substantially better than the Rockies, but I mean, we already know the Dodgers and the Padres are going to be significantly, ahead of them. I think this Diamondbacks team is going to struggle a little bit more than 79. I don't think they're the third place team. I still think the Giants are better. And especially for how poor they did last season, I don't know if I can see them making that big of a change. We're looking at a team. What was their final record that they went last year? Was it like 25-35?
Yeah.
So in a 60-game season, they went 10 under. If you stretch that out to about a regular season, you're looking at like 25 games under 500 if it was to play out similar to how it was last year. And that's tough. That's a rough number. If you're looking 25 under, good Lord. I know 81 games is 500. So 81 minus 25, quick math on a calculator, because I'm not good at math. That's 56 games. That's bad. 25 less wins than 81. So I guess it wouldn't work out that way. So it'd be more like halfway. They're putting them in the 60 something win range, which is still not good. It's not good. I can't do math. That's probably not even close. 25 games under 500, I guess, would be somewhere in the 70s, because 60 would be 40 some game. Who cares? Math is not my strong suit. I'm here to tell you about sports. 79 wins is too high at the end of the day, no matter what. I think that's a little too high. I think they're going to be around the same win total as the Giants, maybe a little less. Where I had the Giants around 74-78, I had the Diamondbacks around 70-74. So I think they're going to be around that range.
I will take the under, but not by much. I think 79 is actually a good spot for them, but I'll say 78, 77. I do see the Diamondbacks as the third place team in this league. I don't think the Giants will be far behind, but I do like this Diamondbacks team more. Like I said, they have a lot of versatility, and I do think they'll be able to get something done. And they do have a bright future. Looking at FanGraphs right now, some of the top prospects, JB Bukauskas, the pitcher, he should be ready this year. He came over in the Zach Greinke trade. And they got some bats. Dalton Varsho, who's a catcher, which the MLB needs more than ever. Quality catchers. Seth Beer, who's a first baseman. We don't know when we'll see him, but he's 24. He's been there for a little bit. Got an invite to spring training, so catch him for a little bit. Domingo Leyba, this should be his rookie year. I think he'll be starting out on the bench. There's one other guy, John Duplantier, or Duplantier, whatever, starting pitcher. The MLB itself has been pretty high on him. They feature him on a lot of social media kind of stuff, marketing stuff. I don't know why, but we should be seeing him sometime this year too. He got drafted in, 16, and then Corbin Martin. So plenty of good pitching prospects if they wanted to move Bumgarner, which I don't know how many takers there will be, especially after last year. They definitely have room to, or definitely have people to fill that space. So I do think the future is somewhat bright in Arizona, and this could be the start of something. I don't think they'll ever touch the Dodgers or Padres. It's going to be quite a while if they want to contend there. Kind of got the short end of the stick being in that division, but it is what it is. They'll be fighting for a wild card maybe in the next couple of years, but not yet. I will take the under. And that brings us to the end of our predictions and projections. This is the NL West, and this is the last division. So from here on out, we're just focusing on baseball. So stay with us for all your MLB news. We'll be keeping you guys updated with all that kind of stuff. We're looking forward to the season very much. This is the time. I mean, baseball is the best time of the year. So we'll be looking forward to that. For Will Polston, I've been Matthew Perry. For James for Hire, we'll see you guys later.